Today, you're gonna start working on your album cover project. So I'm gonna show you the basics of how to do this and some of the required elements for this. The first step for this is knowing what the assignment is. So let's look at Google Classroom. I have added a rubric here for you for this. And let me zoom in a little. So for this one, you have to create an album cover. I have a link here for some of the best, coolest album covers out there in the world. So you're going to have to create your own band name on this one. So mine is Vivacious G because that's who I am. And you have to have an album name. So if you think of like Cowboy Carter, Beyonce is the artist name, and Cowboy Carter is the album name. Taylor Swift, Midnights, or the Tortured Poets Department. Those are the album's names. The artist name is the band name. So you have to include either musician name, which cannot be your first and last name, but it could be your first name. It could be a nickname. It could be a totally different name, like my Vivacious G name. But the album name is kind of describes the collection of songs on the album. Don't worry, you don't have to create the album itself, just the cover. You must incorporate some part of your, body. Some part of your body that's school appropriate, okay? So it could be your fingers, it could be your leg, it could be a silhouette of your entire body from the back or the side, it could be your eye or eyeball, it could be your lips, it could be your ear, it could be whatever you want, except for the parts that we don't show at school. Creativity matters for this assignment, so think outside the box. What could you include? One of the requirements for this one is you cannot just copy and paste pictures from the internet. You could take a picture yourself to include somewhere on the album cover or with your webcam or with your phone, but you cannot copy and paste pictures from the internet. If there's any other drawing or artwork on the album cover, you have to be creative and draw it yourself or create it, and I'm going to show you some ways to do that. This is another hard requirement for this one. Like, I'm going to be looking closely at this one. You're going to start a new file, and it has to be 1800 by 1800 pixels at 300 resolution. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Whatever body part you do include, you have to name that layer body parts, and all other layers should be named. Okay. You have to add text for the band name. And again, no swear words or anything inappropriate. And you must include the name of the album. You could use text effects, which I will show you how to do. And you do not need to put your name, your individual name on this project. We'll just know it's you. Okay. So let's look, and guys, on the second page of this is the rubric, how I'm going to be grading you for this one. Okay. So let's look at Photoshop. So in Photoshop, you're going to start with a blank page here, and you're going to go to File, New, Blank File. When the little descriptor shows up, you're going to, where it says document type, make sure it says custom here. And we're going to make sure these both say pixels and not inches or anything else. So make sure it's the top thing, which is pixels. And we're going to type in 1800. 1800, and we're going to change this resolution to 300. Make sure the color mode is RGB color, and this could be anything, black and white, whatever you want to do. I like using transparent, that's just me. Or you can start with white. And you're just going to hit save. As soon as you get this open, so it should look square. Albums and CD covers are square, so that's why it's a square picture. We're immediately going to hit File, Save As, and we're going to name this in your graphic design folder. So name it album cover. Okay, so now you could start adding stuff to this. Notice that the background layer here is kind of locked down, so I always double click on it, hit OK, and now it's unlocked. So to do a background color, you could have a few choices. You could do a solid color using the paint can and just picking a color. and making a red background. You could also do a gradient. So if you want to do something like that, you could do that, or mix any of these other choices here for that. It's up to you. Um, you could also do the paintbrush and use whatever brushes you want to draw something. It's up to you. Um, there's all kinds of really cool brushes in here that you could use. Some butterflies around. Again, if you're more artistically inclined, feel free to draw something really cool and interesting. Then you're going to add a text layer. Your text layers are going to be for your, I'm going to do that in black, and I'm going to put my band name should be the biggest part of this. So I'm going to put Vivacious G, and I'm going to put the G on a separate kind of thing here. So I'm going to make this bigger. If I want to change the font on this, I can. So let's see. Mix it up. Oh, I like that one. And then I'm going to put another text layer here for G, but I'm going to make that one a totally different font and make it bold. And then I'm going to make this bigger. But I don't know if I like this font, so let me go back to my text tool for that one. Select it. And just see what works for you. And I think I'm going to do this one in a different color. Okay. I'm going to kind of put it behind here too, so I'm going to drag the layer lower, so it's kind of like that. And then I'm going to put my album name next, and I'm going to put that down here, Out of This World. I don't like that font for it, so I'm going to go and select that and make it much smaller. Maybe a bolder font. That's a little better. And maybe a little bigger. So you don't want the album name to be bigger than the band name, number one. Oops, I gotta change this back to white. And then what we could do is I need to add some body parts. So I'm going to save this before I forget. Control S, and I'm going to add, open another picture I might have on my computer. So of a picture of me. So sure I like. So I'm going to use my marquee, lasso, or selection tools here, and I'm going to go and select kind of me, at least most of this picture that just has me. And I'm going to just Control C, go back to my album cover document, and Control V. And then I just have to kind of clean up that picture a little. So I'm going to turn off this background and some of these other layers while I clean it up. And I'm going to just use my eraser tool to clean up some of this stuff. So, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize this. So because it's cut off here at the bottom, I'm going to put it at the bottom here and have the rest of it kind of reach out from there. And then let's turn on all my other layers. It looks pretty good. I just need to maybe change some colors here and there and stuff. And then if I want to, I could add another layer here. So if I want those brushes, like my, let's say, if I want these butterfly brushes, maybe I want them to go in front as well of me here. I can do that. Okay. Now, I'm not done yet. Okay. And now that I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh, maybe I need to move this over and clean up a little more on my fingers here. So make sure it's a clean, I'm gonna get in here, picture. And I'm going to show you a trick if it's not perfectly clean, what you could do to kind of minimize that. Okay. Oops, I cut my hair. Okay. Okay, so what I could do if there's any little imperfections, I could fix those by using as either a style or a filter. So we've talked about styles before, like strokes. So for instance, if I wanted to add a stroke around right here, this out of the world, I could do that. And when I come back to the layers tablet, click the word effects, and that will bring up this little style menu. And I could change the color of that stroke from black, and maybe I want to make it a pink color. I could do something like that. That works for me. And I could do that for each of my layers. I'm going to do that for, where's my G2? I'm going to do that for, so I'm going to add one to G, and I'm going to add one to Vivacious, and just go back to each of those layers. So Vivacious, I'm going to make it a pink one again. So I'm going to go get that color pink. That looks good. And then for my G, I'm going to make that totally different. I think I'm going to make that one blue. So that kind of I think I need to make it bigger too. Yeah. And maybe I'm going to go and change the color to be this color here as well, at least close to it. Let's see. Oh yeah, that works. So once I get that, so it's looking more albumy now, but my picture kind of doesn't fit in with the rest of this, right? So I'm going to go to my picture layer. So I'm going to call that one Garza. Picture, or whatever it was supposed to be named in the instructions. And I'm going to go to filters for this one. And under filters, notice there's this little drop down with all these different filters. So I'm going to go to artistic filters first, and you could try different stuff. Let's say neon. It'll make it look like, and then there's some settings here to adjust it. And you could change, maybe I'm going to make that more pinky. And if you don't like it, you could just say, no, I don't want that. But you could try different stuff, see what works. That one's kind of cool. Or underpainting, or watercolor. And again, do I want less brush detail? Do I want more brush detail? Do I want to add more texture? So try, ooh, that one's kind of cool. Posterizing it, and I can, that one's kind of cool. But there's all kinds of different ones. There's blur, there's brush strokes, and just try different stuff to see what works, what doesn't work. I mean, there's so many of these choices here. And like some of them will have these pop-outs that you could try and do different stuff, see what works. And again, they all have these sliders, so you could see what works and what doesn't and make your changes appropriately. So the one I liked best, I think, was this posterizing one. And again, I'm going to make the edges a little thicker and more intensity. Looks kind of cool. And save that. And now I have this is my album cover. So make sure you save it when you're done. File, save as, as a JPEG and turn those both in on Google Classroom and um, your portfolio page. Now, you could also mix filters with other things, like maybe I want to do outer glow to this as well. Let's do this one. Ooh, that looks kind of cool. And when I go back to my picture layer, I could maybe change it to like a brighter yellow, and I can make the size bigger, and the opacity like higher or more intense. I don't know if I like, maybe something pink or purpley. Ooh, that looks cool. I like that. So, and having a glow effect like that will hide any of the mistakes that maybe you didn't clean up around your picture itself. So it's not as noticeable. Okay. If you have any questions, go ahead and get started with it today, and then I will help you in class next time. But again, remember to save any changes, file save, Control S, and name your layers. Okay. All right. Good luck with this project.